Hi, welcome to 5 Gaming Gents with me, Will, and today I'll be doing a different kind of video. Seeing as I am basically the single content creator on the channel right now, I've decided to do some experimenting with the content I'm creating. So you may have seen my attempts at music videos and the like, but today I'm going to try and do a factual video. If you like it, comment below and maybe recommend another game that I should do a video on. Today though, I thought I might as well try this wacky idea on my favourite game. So, without further ado, here are the top 10 facts about DontnoD's episodic masterpiece.
Sunshine for everyone, but as far as I can remember, we've been migratory animals living under changing weather. Someday we will foresee obstacles through the blizzard.
Life is Strange started its development way back in April 2013 with a small development team of 15 people from the French studio DontnoD Entertainment. They pitched their idea of a high school student discovering they possess the power to reverse time to many publishers, though in reality there was only one the team could see funding their project. This is because almost all the publishers wanted the game's protagonist, Max Caulfield, to be replaced by a male character. Square Enix were the only publisher to allow DontnoD to proceed with their original concept, and as such, the holy union that we've come to know was created. It's just a strange thought that Pricefield could have been ended before the game even started its development. DontnoD's previous game, Remember Me, lends a lot to Life is Strange. Remember Me, which was released in June 2013, experimented with the idea of a rewind mechanic, and features many themes which also find their way through into Life is Strange, primarily the nature of choice and identity. However, Remember Me, upon release, received mixed to positive reviews, and while its originality was lauded, in narrative and gameplay terms it was deemed nothing particularly special. DontnoD refined their rewind ideas into their 2015 episodic adventure, giving the protagonist Max the ability to stop and rewind time, and thus allowing the player to change their actions and choices. This subversion of the choice and consequence narrative was heavily praised and, well, you know the rest of the story. The rewind ability also became a central theme of the game and not just a key gameplay feature. For instance, one of the central moral conflicts of the game is whether you should use future knowledge to make your present life easier, or if you should use it to deceive others, or simply to make people like you.
Take photos. I guess I've had mean, bossy best friends too. Better than having mean, bossy parents.
I would love it if my mom was mean or bossy instead of sick, but whatever. We've had our talk.
Hi, Taylor.
Hi, Taylor. Just because you were nice to Victoria doesn't mean I have to be nice to you.
I've heard that your mother was sick. I'm so sorry. What happened to her?
Well, if you do care, my mom had back surgery. Victoria was there for me. Like you are for Kate. I'm not about tearing people down, Max.
I know. That's why I wanted to talk.
I'm glad we did.
I'm an evil bastard. What if Life is Strange was never called Life is Strange? What if Life is Strange was called What If? It may seem peculiar, but for a long time the title of the project during development was What If? It was only changed when a romantic comedy film starring Daniel Radcliffe, also titled What If, was announced to be in production at the same time. The name was therefore changed to avoid any confusion with the film. I think we can all agree that the change in name was a good choice, and not just because the game didn't have to become associated with that motion picture, but also because it's just so much better. The choice for an episodic structure to the game was also decided fairly early on in production. This was for many reasons, partially due to financial restrictions, but also for creative reasons, in that it enabled them to tell their story, which was already written before the game started production, at a preferred slower pace. The writers of Life is Strange had many inspirations for their work, some of which found their way into the game itself. J.D. Salinger's 1951 novel, The Catcher in the Rye, for instance, has many in-game references, including this line of dialogue which Max says at the beginning of Episode 1, which is in reference to the novel.
If I'm not looking through a viewfinder, I'm looking through a window. Always looking.
And there's red hunting cap in Episode 3, which references the clothing the novel's protagonist wears. Max also shares her last name with the novel's protagonist, Holden Caulfield. Seeing as the novel deals with issues such as belonging, loss, identity, innocence, and general teenage rebellion, it's not hard to see why it influenced the game's writers. The 1990 TV show directed by David Lynch, Twin Peaks, also heavily influenced the game. For example, the show is set in the Pacific Northwest. However, while Life is Strange takes place in the state of Oregon rather than Washington, it's clear from this shot of Arcadia Bay that the producers are referencing their beloved TV show. Twin Peaks also has many themes in common with Life is Strange. Throughout the course of the show, the veneer of small-town respectability is pulled away to reveal a much seedier and darker reality, with many characters who once appeared innocent being revealed to be living double lives. Sound familiar? Twin Peaks is also referenced in Chloe's number plate.
Max? Chloe?
The developers also referenced their other favourite shows through the characters' number plates. Frank's RV spells Breaking Bad, Warren's car spells The X-Files, and Nathan's SUV spells Twilight Zone. The film Donnie Darko also shares many similarities with Life is Strange. After all, it is a story centred on a high schooler discovering the powers of time travel. At the beginning of Episode 1, you can see this doodle of Frank the Bunny, the antagonist of the film, on Max's paper. And if you made fun of Victoria, it is implied she messes up Max's room in Episode 2. Max will comment on her copy of Donnie Darko being thrown on the floor, and wonders who could do such a thing to little Jake G.
My poor Donnie Darko. How could anybody want to break cute little Jake Gyllenhaal?
Due to the restrictions of a small budget, the developers DontnoD Entertainment decided to spend a majority of their budget on writing and voice casting. After weeks of auditioning voice actors, the role of Max Caulfield was eventually given to the American actress Hannah Tell, who had appeared in roles in some films and as a voice talent in a few games, but who had never really broken out per se. Through interviews of Hannah, it is clear she was the perfect choice to voice Max. By the way, you should totally check out her interview on the Black Belt podcast channel. They have great content on Life is Strange. She, like Max, suffers from severe anxiety and has revealed that her lowered self-confidence is what she feels has held back her acting career. Through the course of the game's production, Hannah, like Max, grew in confidence, and it is so brilliant to hear in-game how Max changes from an introverted, rejected teenager into a fully fledged hero by Episode 5. The course of the game's development also helped Hannah herself to overcome many of her personal problems. Of course, though, we cannot talk about the voice cast without mentioning Ashley Birch and the awesomeness which is Chloe Price. Ashley originally auditioned to play Max, but aren't we so glad she landed the role of Chloe? A significant amount of what became Chloe's character was brought to the table by Ashley herself. She made the role her own and won so many awards for her work, including Performance of the Year at the 2015 Golden Joystick Awards. But did you know Ashley Birch has done some other major voice work? In the gaming industry, she already lends her voice to Miss Pauling from Team Fortress 2, and Tiny Tina from the Borderlands universe. She also does a lot of work in the anime business, and you should definitely check out her hilarious comedy sketches on her YouTube channel Hawp Media, and her collaborations with Rocket Jump. Everyone who has played Life is Strange will agree that the soundtrack is a crucial part of the game. In fact, the creative director at DontnoD Entertainment, Jean-Maxime Maurice, describes it as 50% of the experience. The soundtrack is made up of 14 licensed tracks and 8 original songs. A rigorous process of listening to hundreds of tracks from artists resulted in the 14 that made it to the game, featuring tunes from Jose Gonzalez, Foles, Sparklehorse, and Alt J, just to name a few. But the songs didn't just offer an awesome indie folk soundtrack to complement the game, oh no, each has their own meaning to the game's events. Geek Remix already have an in-depth analysis of all the songs' meanings that would far outweigh any attempt that I could make, but I'm just going to look at one. The first song you hear in the game is To All of You by the French band Sid Messers. It's not just a great tune to listen to while walking down the hallways of Blackwell Academy, but it also hints at some of the key themes of the game. The line,
To all of you American girls in the movies, no one can tell where your heart is. American girls like dollies, with shiny smiles and plastic bodies.
seems to be calling out gaming and popular culture in not providing enough three-dimensional and well-rounded female characters. Life is Strange does the complete opposite of this. In fact, nearly all the main characters are female, and in episode 1 it appears that common stereotypes and tropes have been set up around them. However, as the game progresses, this is completely subverted, and almost all the characters are revealed to have a much deeper reality and subtext. Smart choice of song, DontnoD. Obstacles, also by the band Sid Messers, is now synonymous with Life is Strange. It is practically the song of the game, and is played at the end of episode 1 when Max reveals her powers to Chloe, and at the end of episode 5 depending on what final choice you picked. It is a beautiful song about growing up and the mounting challenges and choices we must face as we get older. It kind of summarises the game perfectly. But what you may not have known is that the lead singer and guitarist of Sid Messers, Jonathan Morali, also composed the original score for the game. This includes the songs Golden Hour, which plays at the main menu, Max and Chloe, which is at the end credits of each episode, as well as being frequently played when the two characters are together. And Timelines, which is the song played in Max's moments of contemplation, and is also played in the Alternative Universe segment of episode 4. So, when you hear this music now, you can think to yourself, hey, the guy that did Obstacles did this, and then you can have yourself a little cry how bloody beautiful that song is. Also, for fans of Obstacles, Max's voice actress Hannah Tell also did a cover version, which is absolutely brilliant. You can check it out here on YouTube. Life is Strange tackles some very heavy subjects, ranging from drug addiction to domestic violence to depression, and the heaviest of all, suicide. The game was well praised for its portrayal of these real-life issues in terms of realism, in a way that very few games before it had ever done. In their director's commentary, the game's co-directors Raoul Barber and Michael Koch describe how they tackled handling these issues. They didn't go into the game with a checklist of social issues that they wanted to touch on, but instead allowed them to flow into the narrative naturally. In fact, their handling of the issue of suicide was so well done that survivors have personally praised their portrayal of the ideal for its realism. The ending of Episode 2 has already been ranked by many as one of the greatest moments in gaming history, leaving many so emotionally shattered they still have not recovered from the experience.
It's the men. I'm sorry. Sorry.
What are you talking about? You saved me from talking in class.
Life is Strange has a very striking and unique visual art style, but did you know that the textures in the game were entirely hand-painted? This means that all the environment textures, building textures and so on that you see in the game were produced by hand by a pair of artists. Max Caulfield, who was also the senior art director for the game, said that he chose this option as he wanted impressionistic rendering. Impressionism in art mainly being a style associated with 19th century French artists, who tried to bring in mood and feeling into the environment. Several visual effects techniques were deployed during rewind segments, for instance post-processing, double exposure and overlapping with screen space particles. Another cool fact about Max's rewind is that there are hidden messages while you rewind. If you rewind a clip of Max using her rewind power, you can actually hear little snippets of future conversations being played. Don't believe me? Take a listen. Okay, before we get into our final fact of the day, I just have to put this warning in, and I can't stress this enough. Do not watch the next fact if you have not finished the game, you don't know anything about the ending, if you're still in the process of playing it, or you don't want to know what happens at the very end. Do not watch this, okay? This is like a game-ruining spoiler. It will ruin it, and I feel so bad, so do not watch it. I mean, I'm going to put a box around the spoiler thing, so you guys click it. It will take you to the next bit of the video if you want to go there, or if not, just click off, or just click the link. This is your final one. Do not watch it any further. I'm just warning you. Don't blame me if you could watch it any further and it spoils it for you, because I'm not going to be held responsible for it. Okay, we can do it. Okay, final fact. There is a significant amount of people who do not like Life is Strange's ending. Some have labelled it a bad ending, as it ruined the experience of the game for them, and in a sense, they are correct. The game's ending is bad in that there is no good or perfect outcome to Max and Chloe's story. There's a difference between an ending being bad, as it does not have the overall perfect outcome, and one which is bad as it leaves the narrative broken, character arcs left unfinished, and which generally just has bad writing. Life is Strange does not suffer for this. It is a well-written ending, but it just did not offer the one most people wanted. In fact, it is a great ending for the story DontnoD were trying to tell. At this point in the narrative, Max has used her time-bending abilities to such an extent that the space around Arcadia Bay is literally tearing itself apart. She can no longer run from the consequences of her actions, and must make a final decision, to either go back and undo all of her choices, or stand by them. Either way, her character arc is complete, and she now knows the importance of her choices in life, as well as the importance of keeping her power in check. There isn't a perfect ending to the game, because in life, there is no such thing as a perfect ending. In fact, it's Max's very attempts throughout the game to do everything perfectly right, which ends up with her breaking the universe itself. She must now set back everything to how it was before, or stand by her choices. Either way, sacrifices must be made. The developers have more or less confirmed that this is how they intended the endings to be perceived, though they left them purposefully open and ambiguous to allow the players to take away their own experience. It may suck, but these are the endings the game was always going to have. They were part of the story way back before the game started major development. So if you're still emotionally raw after the game's conclusion, I recommend reading a fan-made comic called What If on Tumblr, which carries on the story from the Sacrifice Arcadia Bay ending. It's still in production and being made, but it is a pretty good read if you want to have a look. Having said that, DontnoD have commented that they intend to make a Life is Strange Season 2, which they plan to release after their latest game Vampire, which is set to come out in 2017. So the wait for more strangeness shouldn't be so far away. So there we have it, top 10 facts on Life is Strange done. I've never done a type of video like this before, so if you liked it, let me know, comment below. Maybe perhaps, as I said earlier, you could recommend another game for me to do this sort of thing on if you did enjoy this video. I certainly did. It's probably the most effort I've put into a video that I've ever done, so thank you so much for watching, you absolutely beautiful people. Check out some more stuff on our channel, and yeah, thanks. This has been Will from 5 Gaming Gents. I'll see you soon.